Two here and all the rest here, huh? Please join me as we light candles together. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to those who are here, those who are joining us online. It's good to be with all of you. Today we're about to end a holiday that no one knows about it. It's called Pesach Sheni, the second Passover. And it is the 14th day of Iyar, which is exactly a month after the 14th day of Nisan, or 15th day of Nisan, 15th day of Iyar. So it is really a month after Passover was, the first night of Passover. And what the tradition teaches about Pesach Sheni is that it is, the Torah actually says, if you are unable to bring the sacrifice of Passover on the date that the Passover sacrifice is supposed to be brought, don't worry, there's another opportunity a month later. And the Torah lists those times why you might not be able. Either you were far away, or you were ill, or you didn't have the means for it. There's like a whole list of reasons why you might not be able to bring the sacrifice. And then the Torah says, it happens. We are not always ready. We are not always have everything that needs to happen to do the holiday in the way it's supposed to be, in the day it's supposed to be. And then it says there's another holiday, a small holiday called Pesach Sheni. So some have the practice of eating matzah today. I went home, the matzah balls are out. I'm not cooking, but I think Evan is making some Passover food for tonight. I'm not very looking forward to that. I'm done, but it's all good. Shh. Oh, it's recorded. Shh, don't tell anybody. But it's this idea of like bring back Passover. But it's such a profound holiday, such a profound teaching that our tradition has structured in it this second chance possibility. It is structured in it. It's not, by the way, I couldn't do it. Is there a possibility? Let me figure out how to do it. It is structured in the calendar, the possibility of second chance. That's a very profound teaching, because usually we understand or imagine this idea of second chances as kind of a by the way. Oh, I failed, so let me figure out if I can do it again. And Torah comes, our tradition comes and says, no, we all fail. We all have moments where we cannot do it in the right way, at the right time, at the right moment. So I'm going to give you another chance, another choice, another possibility. And I'm going to give you a date for that. So that's today. So lifting up this notion of Pesach Sheni as an opportunity for second opportunities, for second possibilities, for when we are not ready for something, there is another date, there is another time for that. And may we be able to hold that in the ways that we live our lives. So let's take a moment with Shabbat candles as we say the bracha together. Holy One of blessings, your presence fills creation. Your presence fills creation. Your presence fills creation. Holy One of blessing. Your presence fills creation. Your presence fills creation. Your presence fills creation. We take 3 times from the light of the Shabbat candles and we say the bracha, the blessing together. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Eloheinu melech haolam Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר, להדליק נר, של שבת. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We greet each other with Shabbat Shalom. Greet someone you don't know. Invite you to sit close. Shabbat Shalom to those joining us at home.
Ay, 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 ay,
And I know this is going to sound as a joke, but it's not a joke. If anyone wants to take matzah home to do a little Pesach Sheni, we still have leftovers at TBZ. And I will be very happy if they go away. So let me know after the service. I'll bring you a box of matzah. We begin with Kabbalat Shabbat in our Siddur with Higale, Higale na ufros, Chavivi alai et sukat shlomecha. Page 2 on your Siddur, the last stanza of Yedid Nefesh, the first line.
Gale, gale, gale.
Na ufros, Habibi It is our practice to take some moments of meditation, of contemplative practice, taking a moment to go through each day of the week so we can transition from Yom Chol, from the weekdays, to Shabbat, to this holy day. Because perhaps the hardest part of getting to Shabbat is that moment of transition, of entering Shabbat, leaving aside all that is in our minds, in our to-do list, in the things that I didn't finish, those calls I needed to make, those emails that were not sent. And as we always say, they'll be there after Shabbat, or maybe not. But for now, there's nothing to do, because the gift of Shabbat is the gift to allowing ourselves to just be, and not to be worried about all that we didn't finish. Shabbat is a time to be in the world as everything has been done. everything. The world is fixed. Our lives are in the place there should be. Everything is there. It is to really taste a little bit of what that could be. Because when we are able to go to that place as much as possible, some weeks better than others, then during the week we can bring that to all what we do. Oh, I know what I'm working for. So we invite you to really do the practice of moving away from the week by lifting up that which this week has brought to you and letting go all that needs to be let go. So let's take a moment. I'll say a name of each day and take a moment to try to go to that day and let go, put aside, but lift up one moment, one thing from that day that feels something that you're grateful for, a blessing, something you can hold into it and say, okay, I bring this into Shabbat so I can be more present into this day, into Shabbat. So we begin with Yom Rishon, Sunday. Page 3. Monday, Yom Shani. Page 5, Psalm 96. Shiru Ladonai Baruch יום שלישי, Tuesday. Page 6. Yom Revi'i, Wednesday. Middle of page 8, Zambru Ladonai Bechinor. The bold in Hebrew, there is a transliteration facing the Hebrew.
Zamru Ladonai Bechinor Becol Zimra
Zamru Ladonai Bechinor Bechinor
זמרו לאדוני
זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור, בקול זמרה. זמרו לאדוני יום חמישי, Thursday. Page 9, Psalm 99. Last 3 lines.
אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו
להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו
וישתחוו להר קודשו
כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר le'ar kodsho. Yom Shishi, Friday. Page 29, the last two stanzas to last verses of Psalm 29. Page 10, Psalm 29. You got it. Nayos le'amo iten Adonai yevarech et amo Adonaios le'amo iten Adonai yevarech et amo לך, דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, page 12. Come, my friend, לך, דודי, come, my friend, to greet the bride, to welcome the many faces, pnei Shabbat, the face of Shabbat that comes into our place. So we sing Lecha Dodi on page 12. We're going to do two tunes, one that we use, or we're doing one for the whole time?
No,
Two. The first one will be more familiar. The second will be a little newer for some folks. But as all these tunes, you know, they repeat themselves. So the first time and the second, you get it.
New here, but it's an old.
Yeah. New to some folks, yeah. Usually, by the way, when we think of old here, TBZ is pretty new music. So it's a funny thing. But, and it is our practice to go for the last stanza of Lecha Dodi, for Boi v'Shalom Ateret Bala, outside, to greet Shabbat, to bring Shabbat out to the world, to bring Shabbat into the world. For those of you joining us virtually, we don't have someone doing the tech today is just doing by itself. So we cannot bring a computer outside. So we will disappear for a little bit. And as I always say, we'll probably come back. But if we don't come back, it's because Mashiach has arrived. So just go out to your door and figure it out what's next. One can wish. Lecha dodi likat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likat kala penei Shabbat nekavela.
Shama v'zachor
בניבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה
כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי
לקראת כלה
פני שבת נקבלה.
מקדש מלך
אין מלוכה ומצאים מתוך ההפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה והוא יחמור. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך אני. על יד בנישת בית הלכתי כל בהל נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת
נקבלה. התעוררי
התעוררי כי באורך קומי עודי.
אורי
שיר דמני כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
ay 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 ay
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. That was the Tzemach Tzedek Nigun.
Beautiful.
Tzemach Tzedek Rebbe.
And you did great learning a new
Yeah.
nigun. It's great. It's beautiful. And we are grateful. Gratitude for being here, for coming to Shabbat. Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. It is good. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
Tov lehodot
l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. להגיד
Adonai
לאורך ימים,
Adonai
לאורך ימים, אדוני לאורך ימים. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome
Shabbat
again.
Shalom.
It's good to be with you. So this Shabbat is Shabbat Parshat Emor. We're in the middle of the book of Leviticus, the book of Vayikra. And the book of Leviticus, as you may know, focused very much onto all the sacrifices and the role of the priests. And it all sometimes feels a little kind of less relevant to our reality when we read about especially all the laws around priests and what priests needs to do, etc. And Emor is very interesting because it has two parts in it. The first part, it is very much about laws for the priest. It begins really giving us all the directions of governing the priesthood, telling us what the priest is allowed or not allowed to do, who they can marry, who they don't, where they can go, where they can't go, what they can, like really goes into details. And the second part of the parasha, almost out of nowhere or totally disconnected, is all the Jewish holidays, all of them. All of them, they are listed there in Parshat Emor. And I always like to ask the question, what I think is when it's it's chapter 1 and then chapter 21 and chapter 22 are all about priesthood, and then suddenly chapter 23, what is it doing here? And if we look at this Torah reading, and in general of the book of Vayikra, and maybe even in general beyond the book of Vayikra, a lot of what the teachings of Torah are about creating boundaries. There's a lot of boundary making in Torah. There's a lot of boundary making. The laws governing the priest are all about boundaries. Yes, you need to be holy. You're going to bring holiness to the people. You are the ones that represent, you are the leaders of the community of the time, and you get to be closer to God and closer to God's rituals, etc. But there are some boundaries I'm going to set up for you. At the beginning, the first boundaries that it's created into and that it's talked about in this week parasha is the connection, or that a priest, a Kohen, is not allowed to come into contact with a dead body. From there comes the tradition that some people might be familiar, that is still followed by many, that Kohanim, if you come from a Kohen family, you do not go to the cemetery unless it's a family member. And so on, the Torah goes with telling us things that they are allowed and they are not allowed. And if we go 2 Torah readings ago, Parshat Achrei Mot, we learn about Nadav and Avihu, the children of Aaron, the priest, who crossed a boundary. And they crossed a boundary, as we said a few weeks ago, for many reasons. The rabbis tried to give some bad reasons why they did that, but it's all relative. But they crossed boundaries, trying to get really close to God, but not following, quote unquote, the rules. And that brought to them death. The crossing of those boundaries was actually something that did not allow them to continue in their role as priests. So it is not a surprise that the Torah readings after that are really focused on saying there are some things, if you are going to be very close to holiness, if you are going to have that power in your role as a priest, I'm going to set up for you some clear ways things that you can cross and things you cannot cross. And then the Jewish holidays come right after. And most of the time we think about the holidays just as celebratory things. But if you think about holidays in the context of boundary making, then you can realize that holidays are also about setting certain times for certain experiences. That it's not whenever I feel I like celebrate Passover, or whenever I feel I celebrate Yom Kippur, because if it was whenever I feel I celebrate Yom Kippur, we probably would not be celebrating Yom Kippur or Passover. We'd probably be celebrating Purim most of the time. Who knows, right? There is not the need of a system, a calendar that tells us this is where it begins, this is where it ends. Even if we are disconnected from that calendar, and most of the time, especially as people who live a Western life, wherever we live, whatever we do, our lives are very disconnected from the calendar, from the Jewish calendar. And the Jewish calendar is very adamant to say, this is where it starts, this is where it ends, this is what you do in this day, this is what you don't do in these days. Sometimes without even knowing. This is how, how many times you say, why do you do that? This is how my parents did it. This is why Jewish people have done it for generations. And it doesn't really matter if there is an explanation or an explanation. There is a marker to that. And that's what the holidays, in a way, are about. They create a cycle, which is a cycle that allows us to experience the fullness of the Jewish tradition. But the only way to create the fullness of the Jewish tradition is by creating boundaries, by creating markers. And that's what we often say about these faith quilts here, right? I need to do Chesed and Gvura. I don't know how to do it in looking that way. Chesed and Gvura, loving kindness and boundaries or strength, right? That we can't live a life of just overflowing compassion and loving kindness without some setting boundaries for that compassion to exist. The priest cannot live and give all their self to God's presence, bringing sacrifices and, burning whatever they burn and bringing the incense without some set of rules that create that possibility. And we cannot live a Jewish life that it's filled with the Jewish values that we exist on without some clear markers of our time. Time is also boundary making. Shabbat is boundary making. So it's an interesting thing to think about this way. Often, many times, we think that creating boundaries, it's negative, right? No, we should open up. But sometimes boundaries are what allows the opening up. Sometimes creating that is what allows for something new to happen. So the priests are told in this week Parsha they need to distance themselves from death so they can live a life of holiness, a life of service. They need to distance themselves from that which is impure, from that which could defile them. Because death can distance them from life of holiness. So they are told that, but perhaps they are told that so they can even be better at serving God and being closer to life. So may we all know what are those boundary makings that mark our tradition and our life so we can live more fully in all of it. Shabbat Shalom. If you're able to rise, please do so for Baruch Hu on your Siddur.
19.
Page 19. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, עמד יבראבים, אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך, page 20. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, בכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובהישעריך. והם שמות תשמעו מצוות השם. Adonai Elohechem Emet. The middle of page 25. ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם מרים ובני ישראל, לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף למלכותך רע ובניך. בו קיים לפני משה זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Page 26, let's read together in English. Cause us, eternal our God, to lie down for well-being, and help us arise, our ruler, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your well-being, and fix in us good counsel in your presence. Save us for the sake of your name, and shield us. Keep far from us enmity, illness, strife, hunger, and fear. Keep oppressors from confronting or pursuing us. Let us be covered by the shadow of your wings. For you are our protector and helper. Mercy and compassion is your rule. Guard our going out and our coming in for life and for well-being from this time forth and forever. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים ועל כל העולם. We rise as you are able for ושמרו. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לדורותם ברית Olam ay ay ay.
Beini uven bnei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ubayom hashevi'i Shabbat v'hinafesh. We transition to the Midah with Chatzi Kaddish, and following my short Dvar Torah, we now have our faith quilts of loving kindness and Gvura, Chesed and Gvura. Doing it, I talked about boundaries today, but then the flip side of what I said before is sometimes too much boundaries is also a problem. When we said it's all about rules and settings, so it is all about finding that balance. That's the work. So if this week you have been too much into the chesed side and you need a little more boundary side, this is a place where I invite you to stand. If this week or you're going too much to the boundary and you need more chesed, then go. Get some chesed. Receive some chesed or give some chesed. And if you are like really focusing on what is that balance, the balance of tiferet, that's in between. We invite you to transition, to stand in a different place. Again, loving kindness, gvura, boundaries. Or if you want to turn to Yerushalayim, to east, that's towards the right windows. יתגדל ויתקדש שמר רבה ועל מה דברי חילותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון יומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו יש מרבה מברך לעלם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמד הקדושה לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמידם בעלמא וימרו. Amen. ענני במרחב ימין המקצר קראתיה ענני במרחב We remain standing as you are able, if you are able, for Aleinu on page 44. לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנים גויי ארצות, ולא שמנו ממשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו עמהם, וגורלנו עם כל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. This week we will commemorate the yahrzeits of Judy Allman, Phoebe Altman, Miklos Brower, Louis Cohen, Selim Eliyahu Menashe Ruben Karadi, Michael Greenberg, Bernice Creditor Haber, Henrietta Creditor, James Rosbrough, Ron Sinrich, Larry Sletzinger, Ella Weissner, and William Whitron. If you are in mourning or commemorating a yahrzeit, or custom is to rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, please do so for Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, page 48. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמה דברה חירותה, וימליך מלכותה, וחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך ללם וללמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, על כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. You may be seated. A few announcements. Tomorrow, Shabbat morning, we have actually a very special service besides Shabbat morning as usual. During the Shabbat service, we will be celebrating a Simchat Brit Bat, the welcoming to a new baby, to the covenant of Jewish people, and naming her, so that will be tomorrow during our Shabbat service. And we also have guests coming tomorrow. Chaplain Clementina Sherry and Reverend Irene Monroe will be here tomorrow, and they'll be joining TBZ member, Dr. Catherine Gergen Barnett, during Kiddush talk discussing systemic violence in our neighboring communities. And this is part of our commitment and our work of the Peace Institute Mother's Day Walk of Peace for Peace, which is next week, which TBZ is very committed to, and we are raising money and have a team walking. May 9th, it's Lag BaOmer, and there's a pop-up festival, Pushkar Judaika, that TBZ is co-sponsoring, so it's a way to celebrate Lag BaOmer. It's a community event with festive Jewish foods, rock out the local klezmer bands and arts, so check that out, looks amazing. Our TBZ Abortion Access Action Group is asking for donations for TLC kits to be assembled on May 21st. We'll get together. You can order them or bring them here, and then there are some flyers outside, and we will gather to prepare these kits. Most importantly is to and sign and get a ticket and make your donation as we celebrate our annual spring fundraiser on May 31st, Wednesday, May 31st at 7 p.m. We'll be featuring Rabbi Micah Shapiro, and together with Rabbi Micah Shapiro, here will be Rabbi Deborah Sack-Mintz and Molly Badgett, who will be joining Rabbi Micah, doing amazing music, and we will be honoring Jenny and Rabbi Sam Sikol from TBZ. So it's a wonderful opportunity to celebrate community, to enjoy great music. So tickets have been sent to everybody, so please join us. And last but not least, on June 3rd, we're going to have a graduation Shabbat, which will honor anyone who's graduating this spring from preschool to graduate school, whatever it is. So let us know, send an email so we can add you in the list, and you can have an aliyah so we can celebrate you. That will be on June 3rd. And lots of flyers outside, so check them out and check our website, and it's great to have you all here. We're going to conclude by saying, blessing each other and saying Kiddush and Amotzi. So we invite you to come closer as we do that.
לחיים!
again because it was close. Okay. Sabri Chavara.
לחיים!
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים
ושבת
וקודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
אמן. לחיים, לחיים, לחיים.
לחיים. I don't want to get the
No.
here. All right, there. Okay. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על נטילת ידיים.
אמן.
Oops, the halot are still in the plastic bags. Sorry for that. And we connect to the halot, or someone connected to the halot once I take the halot from the plastic bag. So much stuff to figure out. Okay, connect to halot, everybody. And we say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
There are some snacks out there, and I'll bring the challah there too.
עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
Shabbat shalom to the people at home. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shkoach. Shabbat shalom. We come outside. Let's schmooze outside there. It's so beautiful.